Hey guys, it's the Card Handler here. A couple weeks ago, I asked you guys to leave questions in the comments about an Ask Me Anything or your questions for an Ask Me Anything, and it's about time that I got back in a longer form video, which is what you're seeing right now, and I will answer those questions. So, yeah, let's hop into it. From E.S. Andrews, how long have you done card magic? Well, I've done card magic about 5 years, so I got into card magic around COVID, that neck of the woods, and it was actually a really amazing time to get into card magic because everyone was at home and we were stuck at home, trapped, and it was a great time to do cards because I could really start to perfect my craft and learn card magic. So, yeah, it was really a blessing to learn card magic through COVID. I will also say that throughout COVID, that is when I found other magicians that I started to really like and watch a lot as well. So that was an awesome couple of years. Have you ever made up a card trick? Yes, I have. I have about 4 tricks that I have created myself over the years. And it's funny because when I first started card magic, I've been doing magic for about 5 years now. The first 2.5 to 3 years, I was just working on kind of getting my technique down and, just reading other magicians' tricks and kind of doing their tricks. And don't get me wrong, it's great. That's the only way to start, you gotta read off of other people's material. But in the last couple of years, I've kind of gone down a different path, and I'm like, what can I do to contribute to the magic world? Can I create my own effects? And that's interesting because I noticed that the more tricks I learn and the the more tricks I learn and the more sleights I learn and stuff, it makes it easier to kind of come up with the tricks. From Justin Hutchison, what's my favorite card trick? I would say I really like this plot in Magic called the Triumph plot. For those who don't know what the Triumph card trick is, it's basically you have a card selected, it gets returned to the deck, and you shuffle the card's faces into packs, face up and face down, and at the end, the only card that is face up is the spectator's card, and that just never gets old. And there are tons of variations, but I love performing the Triumph card trick. From Emily Winter, what's my best trick? I would say the way I grade tricks is kind of what gets the best reaction, but I would say my best trick is this trick called the upside down deck. It's a variation of the Triumph routine, which I talked about earlier. And that trick I can do cold in my sleep, and it just gets great reactions, and that is my best trick that I can do every single time. From Marina Orlandi, who's your favorite card magician other than Jason, and what do you like about their style? For those who don't know who Jason is, he's talking about Jason Ladany. And he's a top magician, one of my favorite magicians that I watch to this day. And as far as other card magicians that I look up to, Daniel Roy, Rene Levand, Derek Delgadio, I really like their presentation because they are just so connected with the audience and they have a great storyline or patter, as we magicians call it. Basically, just what you say to the audience. But Daniel Roy specifically, I really like how he has great sleight of hand, but he also makes great jokes with the audience and just has a really great time connecting with his audience, which is something that I look up to. And he also gives great tips on his YouTube channel and teaches card tricks and things of that nature. So if you don't know of him, go look him up, Daniel Roy. As far as Rene Lavand, he is obviously one of my favorites because, for those who don't know, he is a one-handed magician out of Argentina, and the stuff he does is just mind-blowing. I remember watching his Oil and Water, It Can't Be Done Any Slower, on YouTube. Go look it up, and you can just see him do some of the most amazing sleight of hand with only one hand. And he is a huge inspiration as far as things that I can do with my hand and always being creative in coming up with new plots and stuff. The thing I like about Derek DelGaudio is that he has a really moving story that helps the audience understand the card magic even more. Those are my favorite types of presentations too, where you have a good story and you can really connect with your audience rather than necessarily focusing on the card magic. So yeah, those are my top performers that I watch these days. From Calvin Cruz 1953, what's the hardest part of being a small content creator? Well, it's fluctuation with views and interaction on videos, because I'm a small content creator. No one really knows too much about my channel. I'm not popular per se. So it's just interesting to kind of see the interaction and engagement that I'll get on certain videos. For example, one of the first videos I posted has over 50,000 views on YouTube, but now I average about 50 to 45 views a vid on YouTube. So it really depends. But also another part that's tricky about being a content creator, a small content creator, is when I make videos and stuff, sometimes it's hard to kind of get the motivation to create content if I am not seeing the kind of engagement and interaction I want on my videos. And I'm like, who's gonna watch my stuff, you know? So that is one of the hardest parts of being a content creator. But I imagine over the years, as I continue creating content, that will change, and it will just become easier and easier to kind of have the motivation and continue to do great things, because good things come to those who wait. So yeah, that is the hardest part of being a small content creator. This next question is a question that a lot of people have. So it's not from a particular person, but how many decks of cards do you have? I have about 93 decks of cards total, but I probably have about 45 new decks of cards, and it's split on the shelf. I have new decks of cards, and I also have open decks that I use regularly for practice, and then I have kind of worn out decks but are still good to use, and then I have just completely trashed decks and decks that don't have all the cards in them. From Magic Sean, what motivates you to keep practicing sleight of hand when your motivation is low? I'd say it's the satisfaction in performing the trick when it's ready. You know, something I've worked really hard on. There'll be a few tricks that I've worked really hard on that it just feels amazing to perform it for people when I have it ready and the technique is solid and presentation and that type of thing. What's my signature trick? It is a trick where I have a card selected and I shuffle it back into the deck, and magically I give the spectator an indifferent card, and somehow it changes into their selection. And it gets great reactions. Every time I do it, people just flip out because it's just not possible. So yeah, that's my signature trick.